There we go. Les Brown. Hope you're fired up this morning from a little Les Brown. Again, if you're not doing this stuff for yourself, there's only the hour and a half that we get every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if you're not listening to these types of things, if you're not getting yourself fired up on a Sunday morning, if you're not getting yourself ready on a Tuesday afternoon, we're missing out. Remember, we become what we think about, and our thoughts come from what we consume. So I know it might be boring. I know it might be like, it might be something that you don't want to do all the time. But like, man, if this was just on repeat in your head, if the only things you heard were no longer the media and social media and your family, if all you heard was like Les Brown in your head, that'd be weird. No, but for real, if you just heard Les Brown all the time, you know what I mean? Good things in your ear, you're going to become different. We become what we think about. And so if you consume better things, y'all, you're going to get better. Les Brown gave you a bunch in there. I know a lot of this is reminders. The question is, are we doing what we know? You know this stuff. You know it's about self-confidence. You know about right, all these notes I took. Like, you know the stuff, but are you doing it? Are you doing what you know? Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And so if we can't get away from our emotions, because it's the emotions, the feelings that hold us back from doing what we know, then we need to focus on that emotional intelligence. We need to focus on that mental toughness. That's why we do this, because that's what's holding us back. Talked about self-confidence. How's your self-confidence? How's your confidence in yourself that you believe in you? You can make it happen. How's your self-confidence? Scale from 1 to 10. You don't have to answer it right, but answer that for yourself this morning. On a scale from 1 to 10, where's your self-confidence at? How much do you believe in you? How much do you believe that you can make things happen? How much are you taking responsibility for your own life to say, hey, if it is to be, it's up to me. I know I can make this happen. Or do we need a little bit, do we need a little bit more self-confidence? Do we need a little bit, are we at a 3, 4? We need to raise it to a 6, 7 in order to get to where we want to go? How do we create self-confidence? Keep small promises you make to yourself. First, start making promises to yourself again. Tell yourself you're going to do something and do it. Hold yourself accountable. Stand up, right? Like you heard Les Brown say, right? Sometimes you got to tell yourself to shut up, right? Tell yourself, right? Quiet down. You have to do the things that you know you need to do to hold yourself accountable because that builds confidence. What takes confidence away? If we have low self-confidence, how did we get here? Because remember, awareness is the first step to change. How do we even get here? Oh, we stopped keeping promises we made to ourselves. We said we weren't going to touch the bank account and then we touched the bank. We said we weren't going to touch the savings account and then we touched the savings account. We said we weren't going to do the thing again and we did the thing again. Years and years and years and years and years of that. I'm just not even going to ask myself. I'm not even going to hold myself accountable to that. I'm just going to love myself and be like, oh, I'm okay. Well, now we might have low self-confidence. Now it's time to go build to the place you want to go, and you don't really believe in yourself. Maybe that's what we should be working on. Disciplining your thinking. We know that if you change your thinking, you change your life, but you can't be a slave to your thoughts, to your feelings, to your emotions. This is not how we get to the life that we want. Remember, I always give context. That's who this is for. If you're listening to this, this is because you want to get to the highest, grandest expression of yourself. You want to get to the life you don't need a break from. So that means we have to live by some different rules than people that are around because most people don't get to the life that they want. So we got to live by some different rules. We got to discipline our thinking, take responsibility, no volunteer victims. We don't have victim mentality over here. No volunteer victims. You are in control. Job stressing you out, leave. Right? Like you're in control. Sure, it comes with consequences. Sure, it comes with a change. But change is good because that's how we start to learn who we are. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, like I started this call with, right? We never grow. We're in our comfort zone. Showing up, going the same route, doing the same things, talking to the same people, knowing it, even if it is frustrating, even if we don't want to do, we know it. It's comfort. What's really uncomfortable to be like, I'm not doing this anymore, and then do something different. Super uncomfortable. Your nervous system won't even know how to handle it. You think it's about, right, these other things. It's really just your nervous system protecting you because you don't know what it feels like because we've been in the same situation. But guess what? It's possible. It's one of the things that I wrote down last that you heard Les Brown say last. You got to remember that it's possible. No matter what it is you're thinking about, it's possible. If it is to be, it's up to me, but you got to take responsibility of it. Do just a little, right? It's the little things. Life is in the millimeters and the inches, right? It's not in the big gaps of things. You got to just take small steps every day, though. Small steps every day. I used to say, right, if you get 1% better every day, you're 365% better by the end of the year. I don't know if that's true anymore, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like that's the way that it works. Just take small little steps. 1% better every day. You add that up after a year, you're 300% better than how you were. But what if you never started? What if you think you got to grow 100% in a month and then you're discouraged and then you don't do any work? Right? It's the small things. So what are you doing in your habits just to do a little bit more, just to get a little bit more? I wrote down watch your relationships, right? Relationships are incredibly important. We're the average. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. I'm gonna say it again. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. That's you. You're the average of the five people. Again, as a parent, you know this, right? Because you always would tell your kids, hey, right, show me your friends. I'll show you you, right? You don't want your friends hang, you don't want your kids hanging out with bad influences. You know when that kid is a bad influence. You know when they might come from a bad home. You know when they might have bad habits. You know how they speak to you, and you're watching your kid interact with them, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want you to be around them because I know it's going to be a bad habit. Yet, as an adult, you don't police yourself the same way. You know that person's negative. You know that person is depressed. You know that person doesn't ask for help. You know that person is pessimistic about life, but you love them. They're your family. They're this, but you know they're not probably good for you. Well, guess what? You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. I know, easier said than done to cut off people that are close to us, but if you are serious about getting to the life that you want, you'll get into new relationships with new people that expand who you are. That's how it works. It's hard to leave the people behind, but you're going to get into new, better relationships with better people that think more like you, that are progressing, that are excelling, that their mindset, it'll feel so much better to be around the people that are always positive, that are always thinking about opportunity, that are always encouraging and lifting up versus you being the person that's dealing with all this negativity because that's who you're going to become. So watch your relationships, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that we got to pay attention to. Being casual about life leads you to be a casualty. Let's all resolve right here that we're not going to be casual about our life. We're not just going to be like, oh, okay, if it happens. Oh, nope. Casual people become casualties of life. They become drifters, and whatever takes them, whatever happens in our society, that's who they become. That's not us. That's not you. That's not who God called you to be. So you got to make sure you are not casual about life. Here's the last thing I wrote down from Les Brown. He said, your inner dialogue, what you say to yourself, your inner dialogue, will determine the quality of your life. What you say to yourself over and over again, your talk, your self-talk track, is what will determine the quality of your life. It's really, really difficult, if almost impossible, to have negative thoughts, a negative self-talk, and have a positive life and have a life where all the things line up for you, where all the things, right, where you're grateful all the time, where you see all the gratitude, where you make all the money, where you have all the good relationships. It's really hard to have a negative thought life, a negative self-talk life, and then have positive results. So, the quality of your inner dialogue, of what you say to yourself on a daily basis, will determine the quality of your life, ladies and gentlemen. These are things we know. Question is, are we doing what we know? I could have chosen like 7 different chapters in our text, 177 mental toughness secrets. One of them being the great ones take responsibility, because Les Brown talked about it. Another one about the great ones have supreme self-confidence, which Les Brown talked about, right? Something about relationships. I could dive into all these things because there's only so many things that are going to make you successful if you just focus on those few little things. Good things are going to happen. I chose this one because the great ones are aware of their limitless potential. I hope you know it's possible. How Les Brown ended that. It's possible. I don't know what you are striving for in your health, in your relationships, in your finances, in your right faith life, in any area. I don't know what it is for you specifically, but I hope you know that your potential is limitless. like that you have unlimited potential. Again, back to what they've preached to us as children, that you can become anything you want to be in life, that you can do anything you want, become anyone you want. As an adult, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, do we believe the same thing? Do we believe it? Do we believe our potential is limitless, that we can do whatever that we want? Hopefully. Here's what it says in the text. It says people operating at the poverty, working, and middle class levels of consciousness, conscious awareness, seem to be governed by beliefs which keep them bound to a life of quiet desperation. I'm just going to read that one more time. Because again, I know because I talk to people that this is kind of where a lot of people sit, in all honesty. Quiet desperation. It says people operating at the poverty, working, and middle class levels of conscious awareness seem to be governed by beliefs which keep them bound to a life of quiet desperation. Because most of us inherited and learned our beliefs from well intentioned amateurs, it makes sense that the majority of us are convinced we can only go so far in life. Champions know this to be a colossal myth that has held millions of people in mental prison. By the time most people figure out they've been sold a bill of goods, their lives are nearly over. The most common regret mentioned by residents in nursing homes is, I should have tried more things and taken more risk. The world class either receives professional level programming as children or is lucky enough to be exposed, mentored, or influenced by one of the great ones along the way. The latter is far more common. Champions wake up one day and realize their possibilities and potentials are almost limitless. They realize if they're willing to pay the price, they can build a mentor and support team that can help them accomplish nearly any goal or dream they can envision. After this realization, only a small percentage of people actually take the next step, deciding the single thing they want more than anything. This will be the primary focus and driving force of their lives. Most people fall by the wayside because they simply want too many things, half heartedly. And the great ones make a decision, build a team, go shake the world. Your potential is limitless, but there's some things you got to do in here. I hope you're paying attention. First, you got to be willing to pay the price. You got to be willing to pay the price for whatever it is that you want to go get. It's not going to come easy. It's going to come with some sacrifices. It's going to come with some disciplines. It's going to come with you dying to a part of yourself. Like it's going to come with you learning and growing and expanding and becoming stronger. Again, I always give you the mental imagery of if you were at the physical gym, if you're at the physical gym and you're physically lifting weights, what happens to your muscles? Your muscles are actually breaking. They're actually stretching. They're breaking down so that they can be built back up. That's where the soreness comes from. But that's the paying the price in your emotional health, in your mental health, right? Like it's breaking things down so that you can build it back up. Most people don't want to take a couple steps back to take a bunch of steps forward. We don't want to break down first before we build back up. We're trying to build on things that ultimately will break us anyway. So number one, have you made the decision that you're willing to pay the price? The second thing in there, again, really, really quick that it said is they build mentor and support teams. Back to your relationships. Who is in your corner helping you get to the life that you want? Outside of these calls, outside of me, right, an hour and a half a week, and those of you that are in business with me might get a little bit extra time, but outside of me, who else is in your corner helping you get to your potential? Or is it just you? Because that's the key. That's a second key of you realizing your potential is the fact that you need a team. Life and business is a team sport. We've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It takes a village to raise you. Like you got stinking thinking. Like you got need people to check you. Are you building mentor and support teams? And then again, the last thing it says is you got to decide on what you want. You got to decide on what you want. Like what I don't want a lot of things half-heartedly. Oh, I want this and this and this and this and this and all these things, but then we do nothing towards them. Pick one. Let's go after it. That's how we get to the life that we don't need a break from, ladies and gentlemen. This this quote here says, compared to what we ought to be, we're only half awake. We're making use of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. Stating the thing broadly, the human individual thus lives far within his limits. He possesses power of various sorts, which he habitually fails to use. I hope you all understand on this Monday that you are not using all of your God-given potential. You are not using all of it. And that's what we need to do to get to the life that we want. To get to the life you don't need a break from, to get to the place where you have life exactly where you want it, you have to be dialed in and locked in to you, to you getting to the best version of you, and all the other things change. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. I really mean that. I really believe that. I believe the people that do the work deserve the harvest, right? The people that do the hard work that your family, that the people around you are unwilling to do, you actually deserve the harvest. Like you deserve the spoils, like you deserve it. But it takes the work. You don't deserve it if you don't do the work, right? If you don't do the internal hard work, if you don't do that stuff, you actually don't deserve it, right? We got to do the work so that we can go deserve the life that we're asking for, and it'll happen. People are counting on you, but most importantly, you got to count on yourself. Go out today, do something that scares you. Do something that scares you. Do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. I'm gonna see you guys on Wednesday. Love you guys. Take care.